Hi guys, and welcome back to a brand new piercing video. So today is going to be a little bit different than normal. I get asked every single day, how painful was that? What was this like? What was the healing process of this? How painful was this? What's the most painful piercings? Almost 3 years ago, I did a video where I listed off like my most painful piercings. Now, of course, that video is outdated now. Not many people go back that far. I thought today I would revisit this topic and talk about the top 10 most painful piercings and body modifications that I have had. So to start the list off, it might be one that might be surprising to some of you, because I know it seems like it would be really painful, but that is my Conch Punch. So I got my Conch Punch through at 6mm a few years ago. Now, a couple years ago, I can't remember the exact date. I think it was 2017 I got it done. And I'd wanted this done for such a long time. I had to do a lot of research, because there is like slight problems that can happen with this piercing, because it is it's considered an extreme modification. Think about, you could lose some of your hearing, your ear could collapse, all that kind of stuff. So you have to take that into consideration. They use this thing called a dermal punch, and it just takes out one chunk of your ear. So this is at 6mm, and that all came out at the same time. And then you put like a plug in it or something just to keep it open. They can shrink over time if you do leave it out, but I have to say, I was so terrified about getting this done, because before I got it done, I went on YouTube and was watching people get it done just to know what it might have been like, and everyone was like screaming and shouting and like, so painful, it's horrendous. And so I was terrified getting this done. I sat in that chair and Veronica was like, get ready. I laid back, she pushed it through, and I was like, okay, that's just it getting ready. And it all had been done. And I was just like, oh. Now, I don't know if it's because I hyped myself up so much that when it actually got done, it didn't feel that bad. But I have to say, the healing process was relatively quick. It was quite easy. It was quite sore, and I couldn't sleep on that side for a while, but kind of most piercings are like that. It's one of my favorite ones I've got. Like, I absolutely love it. So I'm gonna rate my dermal punch at around about 2 out of 10. So number 9 on this list is nostril piercings. So this is a really bizarre one, because it wasn't so much that it was really painful. It was like a really unusual feeling. Because originally I used to like stick to like piercings on my nose. So a lot of people thought I had my nose pierced for a long time. I was just being fake. Nostril piercings, it was weird, because I sat down and I wasn't really that nervous, to be honest, because I was like, it's not gonna be that bad. Like, you know, nostrils quite thin. It's not like a massive chunk of cartilage, but it really like messes up with your sinuses. And when the needle went through, it sent like a shockwave through the sinuses, and it like the whole top of my nose felt really weird, and it was really sore. And then like your eyes start watering, so it looks like you're crying from like pain, but it's just your eyes are water. Any nose piercings will make your eyes water. I can't imagine what it must be like getting done with a gun. Like, the amount of times I see these videos of people getting done with a gun, like you're literally ripping your cartilage open. What's really funny is, like, a while ago, I always said to myself that I would never ever get nose piercings. I never would get them. But these two on the sides, like some of my favorite ones now. And the healing process was okay. The right side was a little bit more problematic. Like, I had a little bit of a bump up here for a while. And that's just because I was an idiot. Because like the first side healed really well, I was kind of stupid with the second side. And I was like, I'm gonna put makeup over it. I can do all this stuff and not care. And no. And I have to say, like, on the pain scale, it was probably about a 3 out of 10. So number 8 on the list is 2 that I actually no longer have, but they are my wrist piercings. So I got my wrist pierced. They were like one of my 4th piercing I ever got done. I had like a thing about surface piercings back in the day, and I had both of my wrists pierced back in 2009, I want to say, around about that time. I was like, I've YouTubed so many videos of people getting wrist piercings before as well. They were all going mental about how painful it was. And also, I thought, well, I can actually see this one now, because I can look down and when the piercings get done. Oh, no. As soon as a needle went near my arm, I was like, oh, no, I have to look away. It was too weird to see a needle go through my arm. But when the needle went through, it was like a really, again, a bit kind of like the nose piercing. It was a bit like an unusual, like a pain. You don't really feel pain in that part of your body, like internally going through like flesh. Like, it's not something that you would normally feel. If it wasn't for the fact the healing process was really annoying, it probably wouldn't be on the list at all. I have to say, because of where they were, I was constantly catching it on everything. Like, you don't realize how much you catch your wrist on things until there's something there to remind you. I worked in a shop as well, so working retail, moving things around and picking stuff up, I was constantly knocking it. And I can just tell, like, even if it wasn't like that kind of job, you just knock on things all the time, going through doors, like opening things, like you just don't realize how much you do brush past your wrist or your body parts like that until you get it done. So I only actually had them in for about 6 months before I had to take them out, just because they were growing out. With surface piercings like this, they do grow out over time, so unfortunately you won't be able to keep them in for very long anyway. So the wrist piercings, I am going to be giving a 5 out of 10. So number 7 7 on the list is actually one of my newer piercings, and that is my vertical helix piercings. So I have had a lot of ear piercings over my time, as you probably can see, and a lot of them are helix piercings just around the rim, especially like on my left side. I've got all these ones around here. So I didn't really go into this thinking it was going to be that bad. I was like, oh, well, I've had this kind of stuff before, so what? It's not going to hurt that much. I am actually going to make a whole video about these ones again because they did actually get infected, and oh my God, this has been a stressful situation. So years and years ago, I had my industrial pierce, which was like a scaffolding bar that goes from there and there. And this top bit here, I remember hurting quite bad, but I didn't remember how bad it was. I kind of thought, oh, it's just gonna be like normal helix piercings. I don't know why, but this part of your ear, like the front one up here, the top one here, hurt so much, and I was like, why did that hurt so much more? And I get it, when you get more than one piercing done in the same session, the second one does hurt more because all of your adrenaline has gone to the first one. So I get it, it will hurt a bit more, but it was very, very sore. And I remember the second that I actually ordered me was like, ow, like I don't normally make a sound when I get piercings, but that one did hurt. I'm gonna give these about 5 out of 10. So 6th on the list is another piercing that I no longer have, and that is a nape piercing. Nape piercings are ones that go on the back of the neck. I have actually had this done twice, which I will, the second time was a new experience. Again, this is another one that's like times where I really wanted surface piercings. I just love them. And I have to say, I do still really love nape piercings. I wouldn't get them done again just because it just will grow out and I can't bother to go through all that again just to have a piercing reject over time. So there was a lot of like misconception with this piercing. So I remember when I first told my like brother-in-law that I was gonna get it done, and he said to me, he was like,
you know, if they do that wrong, you're gonna get paralyzed.
So I had this whole notion in my head that like, I still did it. I had this notion that if she did it too deep or something, that I would suddenly become paralyzed and it would sever my nerve in my back. And I was like, this is dedication, bitch. I had to lie down face down on this, like on the sort of bed bench thing they have in a piercing studio. And she clamped the back of my neck. And I have to say the clamp hurt quite a lot. I feel like sometimes they kind of squeeze the clamp really hard to kind of mask the pain of a piercing. So a lot of the time when the clamps go on you, they hurt so bad, like worse than the piercings themselves. And again, when the needle went through my neck, it wasn't so much the piercing itself. It was just the odd sensation of having it hurt there. Again, it's one of those places you don't normally feel pain in that part of your body where like a needle going through that bit of your flesh. And it's like a weird, it kind of like tingled a bit around my neck and it was just very, very sore afterwards. It's quite a thick bit of skin as well that it's going through. I basically moved jobs in that time, and the new job I was doing, our old supermarket was bought over by another company, and Morrison's were more funny about piercings than Summerfield when I worked there. They didn't care what I looked like. I had loads of piercings when I was there, but when I went to Morrison's, they were like, oh, no, you have to take all this out. Oh no, girlfriend. But about, I want to say maybe like 2 months in working there, I was basically just like, I'm just gonna get it done. I don't care. So I went back to Blue Bernarda to get it re-pierced. Guys, seriously, piercing through scar tissue was so much more painful than the first time. I don't know if it's because it's tougher, I'm not really too sure what the nerve endings are like, but it was so much more painful going through scar tissue than it was the first time. And it was like, ow, ow, ow. It did actually heal quite nicely. I was surprised how well it healed and relatively fast considering what happened. Unfortunately, over time, again, it did grow out. I had it for about a year and then I had to take it out because again, it grew out over time. Like the wrist piercings, it's one of those places that they look good, but it's just a bit problematic. And also it was actually annoying for other people because the amount of people that would either hug you. I remember my brother once jumped on my back and like knocked it with his shoulder, and it was an agony. Also like lying down. Like sometimes when you lie on your back, I could no longer kind of like lie on my back probably with my head up because the nape would like hit against like the pillow or something and push it. So I'm giving this one a 6 out of 10 when it comes to pain. So number 5 on the list is a little bit surprising to some people because when I said this last time on one of the videos, people were quite shocked that I found it so painful, but it was my belly button. So I got my belly button pierced back in 2010, and it was one of those ones I was like, I'm never gonna get that done because I'm not that gay. Turns out I am that gay. So I went to get my belly button pierced, and I have to say, is that I actually really love it still. I've had it for 10 years and it's never grown out, although people kept telling me it was gonna grow out. I don't know why it hurt me so much. Maybe I was just being pathetic on that day, because a lot of people just say this really wasn't that painful. I remember going in, the funny thing is the guy came out and was like, who was getting their belly button pierced, because there was a load of us sitting in the thing. And all the girls kind of looked at each other, and then there was like me just stood up and they were all like, it was so funny, because belly button piercings on guys isn't really much of a thing. It's very rare to see. It's mainly just a load of gays. I'm sure some straight people get it done, but it's either a girl or a gay piercing. That's kind of how it is. Went to the piercing studio, like laid down. I honestly didn't think it was gonna hurt at all. I did not think it was, and maybe because of that, I was too confident. So when it went through, it felt 10 times worse than what it probably would have done if I just was was kind of more normal. Put the jewelry and stuff. The jewelry going in was really painful as well. But I have to say, although it was really painful, the healing process of it was actually relatively quick. I will admit I was really effing stupid, and I went swimming quite close after I got it done, and the chlorine in the water irritated the piercing. You shouldn't go swimming for about a month after getting a fresh piercing because the chlorine in the water can really irritate it. That was the only problem I ever had with it. It's never hurt. I've never actually caught it on anything. I would have thought this is one of those piercings that I would catch on some things. I've never caught it once. They do count as surface piercings, so they do have a chance of migration or growing out. I have never had a single problem with it. It's never moved. It's never looked like it's never done anything like that. So I feel like I'm very lucky in this case. Although I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10 when it comes to pain because it was quite painful. So number 4 on the list is one that I do no longer have again. Oh God, hashtag mashtop daddy. Number 4 on the list is one I don't have again, and that is my eyebrow piercing. My eyebrow piercing was one that I missed the most and also one that I wanted the most. So back in the day when I used to get these piercings, I used to have to take 2 weeks off of work because they would never let me have piercings. So I took 2 weeks off of work and I went and got my eyebrow pierced. It was on my left side, it was here. I also got my septum done on the same day because I was like, I'm gonna get 2 things. A little note, septum piercing isn't on the list. It's really not painful, I don't care at all. I went to get my eyebrow pierced and I sat in the chair and I wasn't really thinking too much of it. I didn't really know what it would feel like because, you know, if you pinch that kind of area, it does ache a little bit. So I wasn't too sure what to like expect. He put the clamp on and the clamp was quite painful. And then he shoved the needle through. It was like I got punched in the face. It literally felt like someone just thumped me in the face. It sent like a shockwave through my socket of my eye. And I get it, again, maybe because I had my septum pierced first and then I had my eyebrow pierced, maybe it hurt more because that was the second one I got on the same day. I don't normally bleed in my piercings as well. Like, it's really rare for me to bleed, but this one bled quite a lot, so I had to try to clear it up and stuff. I even like walked out of the studio with like a bit of like tissue like holding onto it until I got home. Now, unfortunately with this piercing is it grew out really quickly. I only had it for about a year. Now, eyebrow piercings can grow out again over time because they are surface piercings. However, they do normally last a bit longer than this unless there's a problem. Now for me, I had it in for 2 weeks and then I was already taking it out and putting a plastic retainer through it because I had to take it out for work. I am in no doubt that was the reason why it grew out over time and really quickly. I also want to say as well, it gave me a black eye. I had a black eye and it was all along my left socket. I had a black eye for about 2 weeks afterwards as well. Because the whole area is very, very sensitive anyway. Your eye area is incredibly sensitive, which is why I constantly tell people do not get eyelid piercings because it's just effing stupid. The sad thing about it is I loved my eyebrow piercing so much. It's actually like before I got any piercing, any at all, eyebrow piercings is something that I always wanted. Now I know it's a bit chavvy. I know that's it's very synonymous with chavs, and they would get one eyebrow piercing and be like, in it blood. I always found guys who had eyebrow piercings really hot as well. And I just want it. I mean, I still find eyebrow piercings really attractive now. Like, I've always wanted it and I always want it back again. Like, I really want to get it done again. And now that I can kind of look like myself, I'm like, should I get it done again? But then I'm scared that it might reject and I don't want a gap in my eyebrow. And also, one funny thing about my eyebrow piercing is they've actually, like, everyone kept saying to me when you get ears pierced, that's gonna knock, that's gonna knock, that's gonna knock. I hit my eyebrow more than any of my piercings ever sleeping. It was a piercing that it was so annoying. I would roll over and hit my head. I'd rest on something and it would hit my head and it would just press against the eyebrow piercing, and it was so frustrating. I will be giving this one an 8 out of 10. Although it was very painful, I would definitely go through it again to get another one. So the third most painful one on the list is my Nape piercing. Oh my God. This piercing was an experience. I obviously kind of want to get one of each kind of piercing. You know, my ears are very full at the moment. And a Nape piercing was one that I still never had. And I was like, why haven't I got this done sooner? And of course, people talk about them getting migraine. It gets rid of migraines, which there is no scientific proof for that actually to be a thing. So I didn't get it to like stop headaches. When I first got it done, a lot of people did ask me that. I never got it done for that reason. So I got it done my right ear. Now I chose my right ear because my right ear is kind of like the internal piercing one, and this is more like the outside ones. So a lot of my piercings in this one kind of go internally. I didn't really know what to expect from this. I played like around in my ear a little bit and pinched where it would go, and it was a bit sore. Now, of course, with this kind of piercing, you can't really put a clamp in that part of your ear because of where it is. And I was like nervous as hell. I didn't really know what to expect. So Ronnie put the marks on and she tried to show me kind of where it was. She did like a mirror and was like, this is where it will go. I talk about piercings feeling unusual and not knowing how to handle that kind of pain and feeling weird. Having the pain inside your ear in that place, because it's quite internal, was so weird. It gave me like an earache. The whole inside of my, like, I could feel it like all along here, part of my, when it got done. all down here like ached and like had a sharp stinging sensation. It was just a lot. Now, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you'll know, unfortunately, because of that piercing, I actually went partially deaf in my right ear for like 2 weeks. Basically what happened is overnight, when I was sleeping, all of the gunk and stuff that would normally like accumulate around the piercing was seeping into my ear and going into my ear canal, and over time it built up and hardened and it blocked my entire ear. I had to get it like syringed out, had like a thing in there, and this massive chunk of like black solid mass came out of my ear. It was so disgusting, it was so uncomfortable, it was horrendous. This was a lot, guys. This is definitely getting a 9 out of 10 on the piercing scale. So number 2 on my list is not gonna shock any of you, and that is my nipple piercings. So I got my first one done about 5 months ago, and the left side was good. It was healing really well. It was really weird because it didn't even ache. When I went to get this piercing done, I was like, it's gonna be the most extreme pain I ever had. I was like, this is gonna be number 1, and I haven't even got it done. And when Veronica put the needle through, honestly, it wasn't actually that bad. It was painful, but it really wasn't that bad. And then I got my right one done. And I don't know if it's because I had in my head, it's not gonna be that bad. I audibly shouted. I literally went, F, C word, like really loudly. It was very, audible. I don't know why it hurt so much more the second time. It stung, it was horrendous, it was so painful. I will actually say though, although if they ever came out, I would definitely go through it again because I absolutely love having my nipples pierced. I wish I didn't wait so long to get it done, but a bit like surface piercings, you don't realize how much you actually hit your nipples, like brush against them, until you've got something there to remind you that you have, oh my God, the amount of times I've knocked it, drying myself in the shower, just washing myself, opening doors like you knock it sometimes, getting dressed. There's so many different things that you catch it on, you don't know until you've got something there, and it hurts, guys. When you pull on these piercings, it hurts. Until they're healed, it hurts. Also, a thing with nipple piercings is like, I found it weird to sleep. Like I catch it a lot more in my sleep than anything else, because like you roll over in your sleep and you just knock it. Like it's not something that's kind of out the way. Like if you sleep on your stomach, if you sleep on your side and you roll over too much, you knock it. It's kind of like, it's been an odd one for sleeping, but this is definitely getting a 10 out of 10 on the pain scale. It was a lot. And the only reason it's missed out on my number 1 spot, my Anti-Tragus piercing, oh my God. So yes, number 1 on this is my Anti-Tragus piercing. I will happily say, I will never do this ever again. Ever, ever, ever. It's been my most problematic piercing ever since getting it done. The most painful piercing I've ever had done. This is definitely an 11 out of 10 on the piercing scale pain rating. I actually didn't originally go to get this done. I went to go get the webbing of my hand done. So my piercer Felicity, she moved to a different studio, and I was like, I'm coming with you. So I got on the train, trained like an hour to Exmouth to go see her. Went to the piercing studio and I was like, I really want to get my hand webbing done, which is like through here. Luckily, I'm glad I didn't get that done now, but she was like, I'll do it for you, but it's a bit of a bitch and you probably wouldn't like it. She was like, how about we do something else instead? You're Anti-Tragus. And I was like, okay. And I also got my rook done at the same day. I ended up getting 2 piercings at the same time, so I've traveled all this way. I'm gonna get more than 1 done. The rook isn't on this list again. It really wasn't that bad. Healing was fine, done. I sat down and she marked on where my ear she was gonna get it, like do it through. And I looked, I was like, yeah, it's perfect. So she put the clamp on, and again, the clamp really hurt. She pulled the ear out a little bit, and then the needle happened. Oh my God, guys. I know I've been saying this, but I've never experienced pain like that in my life. It was a lot, and she really had to push hard to get that through my ear. My Anti-Traguses are actually really big and thick. She had to put in some welly to actually get that through my ear. I almost fainted. I was good to keep it together. I literally wanted to cry. I almost fainted. It was so painful. I will never, ever in my life go through that again. Now again, my Anti-Tragus is really thick, but not only was that annoying, it also took 8 years, I wanna say, to heal. 8 years, and it still didn't heal properly. And again, it's not to do with her, it was just because my ear was like, nope, and where it was, I had a massive piercing bump on it for about a year, and it wouldn't go away. And it's only like maybe it's about a year ago when it actually like fully disappeared, and I wasn't like trying to like hide it and things with big piercings. Like, it was just annoying. And you know, I know you're probably saying, well, why didn't I take it out? But because it hurt so much getting it done, I was so stubborn. I was like, I will not take this piercing out. After going through that much pain, I refuse to get rid of this piercing. So I've been so stubborn with it. gladly, it's healed now and it's actually like perfectly fine, and it's like, I couldn't wish for it to be any better. But oh my God, guys, this has been a very annoying one. It's taken such a long time to heal, so painful. If you wanna get your Anti-Tragus done, you live, you laugh, girl, but oh my God. Be prepared. Like I said, this gets an 11 out of 10. I will never do this again. If it ever came out of my sleep and it closed over, I'd be like, bad bitch. Like, I will never go through that again. So I hope this answered a lot of your questions. Again, if I get this again, I can direct people to this video, which is fabulous. So I hope you enjoyed this video and it answers some of the things you've always wanted to know. Please hit the like button, because that's really help me out. Share with all your friends. Come follow on social medias, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff in the description and in the comments. And make sure you hit that notification bell, because then you won't miss any videos. And anyway, be fast, amazing, be gay, be everything you want to be, and don't let the ambition they take on with you, because you are what? Flawless.